hands? That's like a baby's toy.
I'm totally Batman.
Oh, man.
Shh. Communing with the earth spirits.
Welcome to California, bud.
Cowabunga.
The world of magic.
And after that, I just sort of space out for about an hour.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Secondary Heroes podcast. This week, we're talking She-Hulk. Everything She-Hulk, from episodes 1 through 9, our opinion of the whole series, individual highlights. So, I don't know, what do we think of this show? We'll have to listen to find out. This is your host, Trevor, and joining me as usual is...
Hey guys, this is Prague.
Solid intro, Trevor. This is Alexander Wolfgang.
You gotta leave that tease for the fans.
Well, I tell you what, man, I feel like we haven't been podcasting very much lately, so we gotta build it back up again. We gotta find that fire.
Yeah.
Oh
We gotta
boy,
practice.
we're out of practice. That's what it is. We're out of practice. So, whoo!
It's been a long summer and a long fall, so we're here.
It has.
We're
It
back.
has. And I've been working too many Padres games. I mean, with the whole postseason and beating the Dodgers, you guys know how it is.
Oh, I know about being a Dodgers, being a Giants fan. But yeah, it is always good to beat LA.
Yeah.
Anyway. On to
Trevor, nothing?
She-Hulk.
Nothing?
Nothing from Trevor, huh?
What's there to say?
You're right. What is it?
You're right.
Say?
You gotta prove it more than now, but whatever.
No,
No,
that is true. That
I
is
agree.
true.
Hey, but our manager definitely didn't say that we were going to win the whole thing. Either way, She-Hulk. What a show, huh, guys?
What a smash. What a smash.
What a
All right, so
smash.
how do we do things here on our show when we review things? Let's refresh our memories. and our
That's a good
fans.
question. If you're new to the show, or if you're a lifelong fan,
A lifelong.
more power to you.
more all power to you.
You need an enamel pin, my friend. You made it this far.
We like to start off with a spoiler-free review. What do we think of She-Hulk? Was it good? Was it bad? Is it worth your time? And then after that point, we'll tell you. We're going to go into spoilers, and then we're going to go and talk about the entire series. What were some highlights? What were some lowlights? Are we excited for more She-Hulk? And maybe she's going to be in more of the MCU, or we're done with the character completely. We'll let you know. But who wants to start with our spoiler-free portion of the show?
Not it.
I'll go first.
Oh,
this is
alright.
easy.
Nice.
This is
Okay.
this is easy. So I waited to start this show until it was getting rolling because I like to not go week by week. So I waited until I could watch it kind of consecutively up until when the finale comes out. So I'm live on that day. And that means I got to hear about all of the reactions without knowing any context of those reactions. Just because there was just pretty much a lot of opinions. Either you hated the show or you really enjoyed the show. There was no like, it's okay. There was none of that because that's how everything is. You have to have an
That's
opinion.
the
It's
new way things
clickbaity.
are now. Mhm.
And so for me, I didn't know what to expect going in with that expectation that there seemed to be more bad than good of opinions. And I was pleasantly surprised saying that it was fun throughout. Is it the greatest thing Marvel's ever done? No. But did I have a ton of fun watching it? Yes. I thought that Jennifer Walters' character was outstandingly portrayed by Tatiana Maslany throughout. I thought they just had fun poking. It was self-referential of the entire MCU to understand what kind of the MCU has become at this point, and to make fun of it, plus make fun of itself, and just have a good time. It felt like the writers had a good time. It felt like the writers knew She-Hulk as a character from the comics and what she represents, and they fit it really well into the MCU. And I also understand where the hate is coming from for this show, because it's very, very understanding of today's present culture. Without getting into too specific, it makes fun of certain groups and it points out things that a lot of people take for granted. I wish we did have a female voice for this episode to kind of see more to that, because I can only say so much, but it's definitely on par for pointing out things that people don't want to necessarily discuss or confront or really acknowledge.
Wow. Well said, Trevor.
Well said. Holy mackerel. And now we have to follow that up.
That's why I wanted to go first.
Jeez, man. Maybe we should have gone first. Prague, please.
No, I'm gonna echo what you said. For me, it was a fun diversion. No, but it was a fun diversion for me. I went into the show thinking it was going to be pretty awful from the trailers. You know, I saw all the bad CGI that people were talking about before the show aired, and I thought, okay, don't know what to expect. So my expectations were fairly low, and to me, it felt more like, well, less of a show and more of snarky commentary, like a editorial piece for the MCU. And that was perfect. Like, that's kind of what I needed. I think there's so much going on in the world that's just crap right now that I needed something to just like tune out for like a half an hour a day and just have fun. Like, this is something that I love, is the MCU and Marvel and comic books, and to have a show that just kind of pokes fun at itself and at others, and the whole, what you were kind of alluding to, you know, certain groups out there was much needed. It was a lot of fun. And I think part of that fun too was knowing how angry those groups got at the show because of this. So
really, that happened?
Sir, have you not been on the internet for the last
I really
month?
haven't. I have not been on the internet at all lately.
Yeah.
Well, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh yeah, but yeah, it was fun. I think it's a worthwhile venture for people who have a sense of humor and are not going to take it too seriously, because the show is not very good. I mean, it's just not. They don't have the CGI budget for a lot of their special effects. You can tell that some of the storylines were rushed. Some of the characterization of other characters besides Jen were kind of just there. But all in all, I didn't care. Like, I don't care about that for the show for some reason. I just needed that fun diversion, and it literally made me laugh every episode. Maybe not the whole episode through, but like, I genuinely like found myself really enjoying the show. So there you go. Not a great show, not the worst show, but enjoyable. I had fun.
So I walked into this show knowing zero. I knew nothing. I wasn't expecting anything. I know nothing about She-Hulk except for, I mean, the fact that it's the Hulk's cousin, which I always found was like, we already have a Hulk. Why do we need, this another Hulk? But now I'm like, I was pleasantly surprised. Every episode, like you said, Prague, had you laughing at points. There were points where it was like, this is hysterical. Like, I was not expecting any of that, and I was falling in love. And I think a lot of it has to do with the main character. She's adorable. And I think she's fantastic. And she portrays this part so well. And I don't know. I looked forward to seeing more of her, and I do look forward to seeing her more. I hope that she's in every Marvel thing from now on, which I do have questions about her superpowers, so that's going to come up later in the episode. But I will say the first 3 episodes were extremely fun, and then it kind of it gets a little wavy, then it starts getting a little weird, and I'm like, I feel like it's just side story after side story after side story after side story. But at the end of the day, I mean, those side stories all paid off for the most part. All in all, man, this was a fun, like you said, a fun escape. It was fun to just sit down for a half hour. Like, a lot of the shows that we're watching other than this are an hour, sometimes an hour plus. Mm-hmm. It's nice to have something where you can just turn your brain off and watch bad CG.
Sometimes.
And I thought the bad CG was going to be super distracting, right? And it really wasn't that bad to me. So, all in all, I think it's because of the main characters, Tatiana. Is it Mussolini?
Her personality, Tatiana Maslany. She's this is a personality for sure that carried that CGI.
Yes, absolutely. Without her, I don't know how this show would have ended up, but it worked for me. It worked. I want to see more. I like it.
All right. There you go.
Yep.
Some fairly positive, spoiler-free reactions. Nice.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you know us at all, you know that we're just going to tear it apart now.
Maybe. Yeah, probably. But hey, we'll get into that.
So before we get to the spoilers, though, I think we have some socials.
We do have socials, which I don't think we've posted on any of our socials in a while. But you know what? It's going to start back up now. Now that I'm back in this new house, now that we're all kind of settled, the dust is settling everywhere, and we're getting back into this. You can check us out over on Secondary Heroes, at Secondary Heroes, everywhere. Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. We post on there. Well, we will be posting back on there again. You can go over to Cross the Streams Media. You can leave us a voicemail. It is such a cool feature to be able to leave a voicemail and be a part of the show if you want. If you will have opinions, if you're not liking She-Hulk, let us know. Actually, you probably got a website that you're already a part of that you Anyways, go over to crossthestreamsmedia.com and you can find us over there. There's a lot of other great podcasts as well that you can check out. Check us out on YouTube. You can actually watch us. Check out my new office. It's actually a soundproof office. I'm so excited about it. And I got lighting and stuff. So
Nice.
anyways, so all of this is at Secondary Heroes. Leave us a voicemail, do all that. It's all free for you, priceless to us.
Excellent. So, again, if you haven't seen She-Hulk yet, we're going to spoil it. And where do you guys want to start? Like, part of me was like, oh, do we go episode by episode? But I feel like that's an old version of our podcast. So I feel like there's bigger talking points for this show. And I think the big one is CGI and how bad it is. But the more I looked at it, the more interesting. Is it this weird women beauty standard thing where we literally see Mark Ruffalo as Hulk and you get to see the hair on his arms and he has veins and he has a little stubble and he seems just like they got the movie version of him and they used already all the money they spent in creating that. This one, it seems like they cut way back, but also her hair is nicer. Her skin is nicer. She has no blemishes whatsoever. It's a really weird juxtaposition when she's on screen with Hulk. When she's with everybody else, it looks super out of place. But when she's with Hulk, it's a weird juxtaposition of beauty standards for women. I don't know if that was on purpose, but it just stood out to me.
Well, and a lot of times with Hulk, like you said, he's got the stubble. He's got all this other stuff going on. Kind of a way to not just hide bad CG, but to also kind of like more detail. There's more detail that we can look at. With her, she's not going to have a stubble. She's going to have just flawless skin, and it's like maybe that's what makes it look more fake.
It could
I think
be.
it is.
Yeah.
The detail,
The
I think,
smoothness.
creates realism.
Sure.
Right. And it's the detail in the hairs. And you're not going to put hairs on She-Hulk.
It's also really tough to animate hair in CGI. Like, really tough. Like, they always talk about that being the hardest thing, and she has really long hair. So, yeah.
Right.
Not easy.
Well, and I think another thing that they did, too, is they made her eyes much bigger than they almost should be. It's almost like they put cartoony bit of eyes on them. Not saying that I think that that's bad. I actually totally dug it, but there's this weird uncanny valley that we got with her.
We did. I think a lot of it too had to do with the way that she walked around the sets. Like, it didn't seem like there was a real entity in some of the scenes that she was in. So that is not just the CGI, but also like the placement of her in a scene.
Her stride was also really weird. I don't know who they actually did to mark it, but it was not natural at all. When you actually saw her walk, it was
like she was floating at times, right? Like, wait, is she walking or floating? What is she doing in this scene?
Like, it was almost like she had no weight to her.
Yes. I think that's the good way to put it. It's almost as if she had no weight.
Yeah.
At all.
The storyline alone kind of is the better distraction from the bad CG, though. That's what
And
I
her
liked.
performance, like being Jennifer Walters,
God,
like that's
yeah.
like I'd rather have that than great CGI. You know, like
Yeah,
that's
imagine
fine.
if it was amazing CGI, but
But
it was
terrible
bad
actors or
casting
something.
or just
Right.
boring story. It was like, oh, look how great this looks. I mean, Marvel has some
Exactly.
of that already.
We've
They have
discussed
enough.
it.
They have enough of that.
We've discussed
Thanks.
it. Now,
So yeah, I
Trevor.
agree.
Oh wait, never mind. I was I was gonna skip way ahead. We should probably
Oh.
have like a start. Yeah, let's not skip that far ahead.
Well,
Never mind.
I mean,
Okay.
just like big tentpole points to the show, there's also the idea Marvel hasn't really shown about superpowers to everyone else. This is the first show that was like, hey, look, this guy's immortal and he's using it to get out of marriages. He literally jumps out of a window or pretends to kill himself in a bunch of different ways. Or there's the one lady who's an influencer, you know?
Yep.
Titania, but she's like kind of superpowered. She's not as strong as a Hulk, but she's kind of superpowered, and she just uses it to be an influencer and gain popularity. It's a whole different look at like all the powers we've seen. Oh, I'm an Avenger, I'm fighting Thanos. What about everyone else who might have powers in this universe?
Exactly. And apparently the Sokovia Accords are no longer a thing, is what they said.
That was such a subtle thing.
like a throwaway line. I'm like,
It
okay.
was one of the most throwaway lines ever, and boom, the Sokovia Accords are gone.
I bet you
What-
they were
what
halfway
is
through the
that?
season, and they're all like, wait a second, we have all these superpowered people. We probably should have to throw these out somehow. Let's just mention it, that they don't exist anymore.
So I'm very confused because I
So
don't
if
know
anyone
what that
doesn't know
is.
what the Sokovia Accords are, literally there was a civil war. Captain America Civil War is all about the Sokovia Accords. The fight between Cap and Iron Man, it's all based on the Sokovia Accords.
God, I barely remember that movie.
That movie's mainly about looks. It's definitely one that lacks substance.
Yeah, it was a looks movie.
So,
Looks
so
great though.
was it about other people having
It was about
superpowers?
the
Because
control
that's
of the superpowered people, individuals being regulated to the government.
so. But that's the confusing part. Was that the only movie that they had other superpowered people? Because I feel like where are these superpowered people coming from? Why all of a sudden are they becoming now a part of the MCU? Like, for instance, who was it? Not Captain, but Miss Marvel. We saw how she got hers. She got a bangle, and now she's a superhero. We get that. Like, I didn't realize that there was bull people. Like a dude who literally looks like a bull.
Bull people. That's bull crap. Yes.
I
there are bull
would
people.
say that those parts with him and the Matador, which he's not a Matador, were probably some of the worst parts of the show.
It's all right. Yeah. A little cringe.
Yeah. Well, it was silly. It was
No silly.
even the porcupine guy, which didn't make sense to me either. I didn't know was he a superhero? What was going on with Porcupine? Did he just wear a suit?
I think he just wore a suit. I was very confused by that too.
Yeah.
I think he just wore a suit and he was smelly.
There's also the
smelly.
vampire guy.
The vampire guy that
Yes.
didn't really make any sense.
And he
either,
might not
but-
be a vampire either,
guy's going to
apparently.
connect to something else.
Maybe.
Well, maybe yeah.
if that movie ever gets made.
But, I mean, She-Hulk or Jennifer literally asked Kevin about the reason all these superpowered people exist. She
Really?
winks to the audience when she
How did
does.
I miss this? Okay, I must have just zoned out at a point. So could you please let me know?
We'll get there. I'm
Okay.
saving
We'll get
that.
there.
That's
At
such
the very
a.
end,
That's
it's
one of the
serious.
best scenes in any MCU show ever. So we'll save that.
Oh, when she's asking Kevin Feige,
All
gotcha.
the
Okay,
questions,
yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
No, just Kevin.
Just
No,
Kevin.
Kevin, I know. Kevin. Another. Okay. Anyways, we'll get there.
We'll get there. Exactly. So one of the more broader points, what do you want to talk about? So we had the CGI, which is an issue. And I think to tie into the CGI, the thing that I actually did not like about the show was the green screening of the office buildings. Like, to me, they almost took me out of the show sometimes. They were so bad. Like, I felt like you could tell they were in front of a green screen the entire time. They're in any office.
Interesting.
I don't know if maybe it's just me, but it felt very
I thought the weird thing
washed out.
was that it was actually in LA. Within the MCU, we've seen LA very, very limited.
Very
Especially
seldom,
because I think the only time is Tony's house in Malibu. It's really like downtown LA. It's always New York based. Everything has been New York based, and I thought that Jennifer Walters was going to be based in New York just because that's where, we had Miss Marvel based in. We're going to have an upcoming Daredevil show based in. It's like the MCU shows are kind of grounded in that New York idea, and they're like, nah, she's in LA.
Yeah, maybe needs some West Coast Avengers soon. I don't know. But she is in LA. But it didn't look like LA. It didn't look like anything. I'm not too sure what they were trying to achieve with that that green screening, but I did not care for it much at all.
And it even didn't even need to be LA. I mean, that could have been anywhere USA, because they didn't spend a ton of time with the whole like LA-ness of the show.
Yeah, I'm not too sure.
I will say I was glad that they got out of New York, because
It's something new, right?
Right. It was
change.
definitely something to look at different.
And
Just
maybe
like when we were
Yeah.
Sorry, when we were watching Miss Marvel and they went to Pakistan. Like, it was something different and new and something else that we were looking at.
And it was great.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, I agree. I don't know why she was on the West Coast. I'm sure that will be revealed later. West Coast Avengers, maybe later.
So, Prague, did you ever watch or did you ever read the comics?
Yes, I read that, but I was very young when I was reading She-Hulk. Like, I was probably 8 or 9. So I don't remember much about it. I just remember being obsessed with her. For various reasons, I guess. I don't know.
An 8 or 9-year-old boy? I think we all know.
Yeah.
We've all seen the
I really
comics.
enjoyed her. So yeah, my memory of like her storylines and such, I just remember them being fun. That's why I read them. Like back then, that was before like I became 12 and I was into like Spawn and like the more darker stuff and like the darker Batman things. So back then I was reading, the more fun stuff like, the Ninja Turtles and Nintendo magazine type stuff.
But Ninja Turtles was pretty dark. At least the comics were.
Yeah, but
the cartoon
it was a
definitely
little bit.
Oh, no, not
yeah, not that. Yeah. Anyways, yeah, so I just remember it being very lighthearted and fun. So that was my memory of She-Hulk, was being that, like being really silly, out of the box, breaking the fourth wall kind of stuff. So this
and that was one thing
held up for me.
That was one thing that I was going to mention is from the very little bit of research I did, I learned that she has always been a fourth wall breaker. This wasn't like a thing for the show or anything like that. So it shouldn't be like people are watching this going, oh, well, Deadpool did it first, because I guess she did it in her comic way before Deadpool did.
Yep.
Yeah,
I mean, a lot of
I
comic
thought
books do that.
They did it well within
They
the
did
show.
do it
Like
well,
they evolved it kind of for being a TV show rather than a comic book. Like, she understands that she's self-contained in a TV show, and it's not overt all the time. It's just funny asides that kind of make you smirk.
Right, it's like little winks to the camera, little winks and nods,
I think the weird part was it started heavy. At the beginning of the series, it started heavy. Then it was almost like they forgot that she can do it. And then at the very end, it was like, oh, no, we're going full force.
Full force.
We are breaking everything.
All the walls. Yes.
All the walls are being broken.
Definitely keep up the fourth wall breaking with her, because Tatiana Maslany just does it well. She holds the camera really well. And one kind of bigger point, just as I'm watching episode 2, she's sitting down with her family, and all I'm thinking of is that she's known for Orphan Black. And I'm just thinking of Jennifer Walters realizing that she's just a clone. She interacts with Sarah or Cosima, and then Cosima actually makes an appearance. They have a clip from her in college, and it's literally Cosima dancing around from Orphan Black. It's one of the funniest little nods to Orphan Black. But just to that idea that Jennifer Walters is just one of the clones, and this is the version when you give her gamma radiation. This is actually how she turns out.
Yeah, exactly. That's what it is.
Did you guys both watch Orphan Black?
Yes.
Back in the day, yeah, it was a long time ago.
How old is this show? It feels like it's something new.
I would say
15? 10,
yeah,
15 years?
I'd say like around 2008.
Yeah.
2010 maybe.
Unreal. Okay, well, great. Now I've got to look that up.
Fun.
Orphan
show.
Black's pretty great.
But it's weird.
And once again, mostly because of her.
I haven't seen anything with her in it, and everybody's talking about Orphan Black, and I'm like, oh, this must be a show that came out right before this or something like that, because I feel like I've never seen her in anything.
Yeah, you probably
And
haven't. I don't know if there is maybe too many.
She's a memorable person. She's very memorable.
Sure. She played a lot of characters in that show.
Yeah.
So yeah,
This is just one of them.
I'll give it a whirl. So what were you guys' thoughts on all the cameos? Even though she winked and nodded that there wasn't going to be very many cameos, and
and then
what
lists
was it, the
them
very
all off. Yeah, she's driving in the car and she's like, okay, not that one. Like Hulk, okay. and Wong, don't worry, there's not going to be that many more. And then Abomination showed,
Yeah.
okay, she's like, no, not that one either.
No. A lot of them. I don't know. It just added to the fun of the show. I think that was kind of the point.
Oh,
The show is
I
meant to
loved
be kind
it.
of silly and over the top. It was great. Yeah. All self-referential. I enjoyed it a lot.
The one thing about Hulk being on the show, like, he mainly is just in the very beginning. Just the idea, like, he's rad. He's a relatively tragic character. Like, he's going over this deep idea that he has survivor's guilt. Like, whenever he's talking about Tony or mentioning it. And Jen just doesn't care. She just wants to leave. And they're passing over everything that he's saying. But his lines are really dark. Like, Hulk doesn't get a full standalone movie to go in what he's kind of... all that he has to go through. Like, he's one of the few people left.
Now, do you feel like that was the writers being like, okay, we all have heard his story. We've all heard Tony's story. We're ready to move on from Tony. We're ready to move on from, what happened in Infinity War. Was that their way of just kind of like, we'll mention it, we'll brush over it, and then we're moving on?
I don't know. Maybe not. I think they're trying to lead into a possible Hulk movie that hasn't been announced yet. Just saying.
By the way, he's winking and nodding at the camera. I don't know why he's winking or nodding. Jeez, you signed that NDA, my friend.
I did sign it. They made me sign it.
200
Then they hit
pages.
the buzzer.
Man.
Everyone has to sign it.
Everyone has to sign the NDA.
Everybody's
Yep.
got a podcast.
Even fourth wall breaking superheroes that jump off the screen have to sign them. So, yeah, lots of cameos. Well, speaking of cameos, anyone have a favorite cameo? Like someone that you liked?
I would probably say it would have to be Daredevil
Of course.
or Matt Murdock.
Okay.
It's not really close, yeah.
I know. I shouldn't have said anything.
I think the only reason why is because I just did a flight from Boston back to San Diego, and I rewatched the Spider-Man movie, and he was in that, and I was like, man, they really haven't done anything with him. And then all of a sudden, now he's showing up in here. But now now it's just kind of like, it feels kind of like a silly goof having him in this.
Well, sure. We'll see what happens with his own series, which might still be a goof. Who knows? But this is her show. Remember, this is in his show.
Yeah, what was really interesting is there's that one time they go to the bar afterwards, and just Charlie Cox and Tatiana Maslany have really good chemistry. I would like to see them more. They were outstanding on screen together. But she gets up and takes a call. I would love if the Daredevil show has that exact scene from Matt's perspective. Like, she walks away and we get to like it's the same exact. That would just be really cool nod.
Yeah, see what he did after that moment, or during that moment.
Well, because he got a call as well that pretty much said, "Hey, I gotta go." Something came
that's
up.
when he has to go back to New York. Yeah,
right.
Yep.
It would be
What
a cool
brought him
lead-in.
back?
Yeah.
Did a certain Kingpin get shot in the face? Don't know.
Oh, and then that leads
Maybe that
into...
was the news.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
That's what brings him back to Echo. The new show coming soon on Disney Plus. It's all tied in together. Come on.
Man. That show
gonna
does...
happen. But yeah, they
Is it
had
gonna be good?
fantastic chemistry. I think that's what made it work really well. And he was fantastic. But I did like Wong. I always like Wong whenever he shows up in things. And I thought he was a lot of fun too as a cameo.
Can I just say, I am very surprised at Wong. The fact that, like, when you first see him, I feel like he's just kind of like a secondary character.
We like secondary characters.
We do. But he just kind of was like a pushover type of character that really didn't do or say much or have much going on. And now he's like everywhere. He's connecting all the universes.
He's like the Nick Fury of this phase.
That's what it feels like.
Yeah, I mean, he is the That's what he is, the tying force between all the different narratives, it seems like. And I'm fine with it. Works for me.
No,
He's
I dig
fun.
it too. I do dig it. Yeah.
He's a fun guy.
That guy's got to be raking up a just sweet paycheck.
Yeah,
There's
I'm sure.
also Madison.
I was gonna say that next. Yes, of course.
Madison, his like new girlfriend or something. Not girlfriend, but
New BFF. Watch all their, binge watch all their shows together. It's gonna be fun.
which
Also,
I
they
do.
spoiled The Sopranos.
I hope you finished Sopranos, Trevor.
Like, I know it's an older show, but I've only watched the first 4 seasons, and they literally spoiled season 5, and it really sucked.
Oh shoot! That's a big moment. All right.
Oh wow, that's so funny.
That's what kind of makes it funnier.
Oh, it makes it so funny.
Sorry, Trevor. Yeah, I was when I watched that episode, I'm like, I don't know if Trevor finished it yet. So I don't think he has. Oh well. Well, now you know.
That's what
So
happens
there's
when
that.
you watch 20-year-old shows slowly.
Yeah, you kind of have to power through them real quick, I guess, and oh well. But she was great. She was a fun character.
She was I thought she was gonna be annoying. Wait,
Right.
we're
At first,
talking
you're like,
about
okay, party girl kind of thing, and then like, she
Right.
really grows on you. It's like, oh.
I bet you don't
like
know where
that
the
one
I is. It's Madison with a Y, and I bet you don't know where the I is.
Wait, hold on. This Madison was a part of the show, wasn't she?
Yeah.
Oh my god, has it been that long since I've seen her?
Yes. She's only in maybe 2 episodes, 1 episode, 2 episodes. I don't know.
Well, and she was at the end of one episode, like mid-credit
The end
scene or
credit.
something like that. Yeah,
Right.
over there. That
The
was
first 4
that was
episodes
cute.
had end credit scenes, and then the last
Yes.
one does.
Yeah.
And the last one does.
And
I
so I,
did-
was expecting it 5 through 8, and they got me.
Yeah, they didn't have some,
I
unfortunately.
just hit fast forward.
Yeah, always
I'll tell you-
skim through.
I always fast forward through the 30 seconds of Marvel cinema or whatever. God, that takes forever to get through.
They need a shorthand one for the TV shows. Like, I get it for a
Yes.
movie, but for the TV shows, you need a quicker one.
Yeah,
Right?
show some of the names. At
Or
least.
just pop up the little icon that says skip. Skip this intro. I will skip that thing every time.
Yeah. Anyways, before we move on from Madison, we can't escape Madison without talking about Mephisto. Because Mephisto may be confirmed. Because she did go to a certain hellish dimension. and
she did. Oh, and she mentioned that's right.
Made a deal with somebody.
She did.
Oh,
So
I didn't even connect those dots.
and she had the
I feel
heart
so
and everything. Oh yeah. My guess
Oh, I
is
feel
that
so
might have been
dumb.
Mephisto. Or they're just teasing us having fun. That's the other possibility.
They're
which is
probably
the more
teasing us
likely
having
one.
fun.
But it was
Like
still it's a
the-
fun little moment.
The WandaVision Quicksilver thing, but
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Now
That's
I'm
what it
kind of
felt like
wishing
to
that
me.
we did week by week on this one.
I
Because
know.
I think
There's
this
not
would have
that
been
much.
this
Yeah,
would have
there
been
would've been
fun to like. Yeah, you're right. You're
Yeah.
right. It's still fun. I
Like,
would have
I
looked
like
at the show
the-
differently.
I don't, because this show is probably making fun of that very idea. There's a
Because
reason
everybody
they had
talked about it
Avengers
earlier.
and Avengers.
Yeah.
I'd get a. So would you get an Avengers shirt or an Avengers shirt?
Oh, Avengers for sure. Why Avengers?
Neither.
You don't-
Neither.
Yeah,
No, you gotta
I'm
get
not
the
buying
eye.
it. I gotta buy
Come on,
it.
that shirt was designed by friend of the show, Truck Torrance from 100% Soft. So you are going to buy that shirt, sir. He was also a cameo on the show.
He was.
Oh yeah, he was one of the swipers when she was swiping through pictures.
Oh,
He was like holding a cat, wearing like that was a sailor's hat. It was cute.
So he didn't have a speaking line.
Didn't have a speaking line.
They
Stop
also-
with your winking and nodding.
they did a
Taking my
good
water.
job of making fun of our culture. There was a few like is his name Pug, the other lawyer
Yeah.
guy?
Yes,
Pug.
Pug,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, he's going to the Iron Man 3 sneaker drop.
Yep.
And he literally said one to rock and one to stock. That's why he wanted. I was-
Dude, how do
Like,
you
you
not
not
think
to
of
say
Sully
that.
when you hear that?
Right? Oh, you know he was like they're reading all of our tweets. That's what they're doing. All of our tweets. Everybody's not just
and then
Someone's-
there's the She-Hulk beauty products, which they don't do anything, but there was lines for people to get them because that's our society too. Though my favorite line was where the one guy's so he spends 175,000 on the lady who he is a shapeshifter and becomes Megan Thee Stallion. And
Right.
the guy's like, you spent $175,000. That could buy a house in some parts of the country. And the guy's like, oh, really? Sure. And just his dismissal of being able to buy a house for $175,000 because he lives in LA was so authentic.
On brand for
And
LA, for sure.
truth. So much truth to it. Oh.
Yeah. So where this show lacks in CGI and all that stuff and like rush storylines and things, like I don't think they cared about that. Like I think that was like something they're like, just forget about putting any kind of effort and money into that. Because that's not what this show is about. This show is about poking fun at everything from the fandom and the history of the MCU and the whole, I don't know, hate culture in general, bro life, everything.
Well, and they make
It was
fun
a lot
of
of fun.
the CGI at the end anyways, so...
And they do
knew-
exactly.
they-
It's all
yeah,
about
they
it's
knew
the
what they
whole
were
thing.
doing.
They knew the whole time. And that's what was great about it.
Yeah.
They were even hating on the haters of the show itself. It was great.
In real time. It was amazing.
Yeah.
They knew the backlash they were going to get and made
Yes.
a whole sequence to make fun of it.
Yeah.
So great.
I mean, just in the very start where she's like, it's great that I can wear headphones and a hoodie out at night and not have to worry about it. And I think that some people will never understand that that's actually a reality.
Yeah. Yep. So there you go.
Yeah. Take a second and, really revel in that one. That sucks, man.
Oh, this show. The show was good, I think.
But that's the
For
cool
that
thing
reason.
about this show is that that's why I'm really hating the fact that we don't have a female on right now to talk about this. But this show is very female empowering, like in a lot of aspects, and I really dug that about it because it gives you a new look at things, and she likes to poke at, like we've been saying the whole time, she pokes at all of that stuff.
Yep. And it's refreshing. It's refreshing to see
Yeah.
that perspective for a change. It's been a while. I mean, even
Right.
like the first few phases of the MCU, it's like, yeah, you had a handful of female characters and they slowly started building more and more. But like now we're really starting to get into the leads for that. And it's been enjoyable.
They're
Right.
not just side characters.
Yeah, they're not. They're like, hey, I'm just here to like be quippy and whatever. So yeah,
Right. Yeah.
it is nice.
It is. It's a change. Definitely a different change of pace, which is nice, and it's nice to see a different point of view. Because I feel like every show is so male dominated, whatever. You know what I mean?
Dominated, yes, but definitely helpful to have a female showrunner for the series.
She didn't do anything to get those powers, dog.
That's right, dog. That makes me mad.
I will say that her going on the date with that guy 3 times and then him ending up being the big bad was a little disappointing.
Yeah, that was,
That
a little
was on
disappointing.
purpose.
That was, yeah, it is.
But
exactly.
she
But
hung
still.
out with him 3 different times. Like I still don't understand why he created the website and then he still went on a date with her again and kept going on dates with her.
To get
To
info.
build the trust. Yeah, build the trust and get the info. That's all it was. It was the long con, and maybe he just wanted some of that. Who knows?
Well,
Just saying. I like how the whole series, like, they're trying to say that Tatiana Maslany is not attractive, but she.
oh
won't get it.
my
Like,
god. right?
that's the most unrealistic thing about the whole show. Was
So
that? I'm like, are you
unrealistic.
kidding? She's gorgeous and funny and intelligent. Like, what are you talking about? What guy wouldn't want to spend time with her? So that was unrealistic to me, but that's only a testament to her.
I do like how they changed the title where one episode was just Jen instead of She-Hulk, like it was in the actual font
just
and
my-
everything.
yeah,
or
just me.
they changed Attorney at Law to something else. It was really good use of changing the title.
Unemployed or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
something like that. It was fun.
Different things like that. Yeah, it's cool. Yeah, it's definitely a very fun show, and there's little things that if you're not really looking or paying attention to, you'll miss.
I also liked the introduction of the outfits of both She-Hulk and Daredevil because we get a glimpse of Daredevil's, first look where he uses the yellow and red in his helmet in like episode 5, but then they actually square off fighting each other, and I liked their outfits. Like I liked the way the MCU is slowly but surely developing their own kind of identity, where it's kind of comic homage, but it still fits in with their universe, and they just are doing it really well.
Except for that
That's a
Ribbit
good
guy.
design.
The
Well-
Ribbit and Grip It. Oh,
yeah.
dude, come on.
That guy and his rocket boots. Yeah,
There
very much
was-
like Kick-Ass in a way.
He looked just like
it.
Kick-Ass. I asked.
Looked just like
That was on purpose.
It must have been. I think so.
But
fun.
so, and that's where I'm like confused. Are some of these other side characters like the Bullman and the vampire and Ribbit, are they in the comics at all? Like, have we seen these characters ever, or is this like kind of?
I would say I think some of them are not, but I know some of them are for sure in the comics. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but not all of them. I think some of them were kind of just made up for the show, but a lot of these were pulled like deep cuts for this show.
Well, I
So, yeah,
feel like
they're in there.
the bull and the guy from Spain. I have no idea what his name even was.
I forget.
Yeah,
I forget.
He's such
But
a
yeah.
forgettable character. Not forgettable character, but I don't know. He wasn't anything I wanted
Well,
to see
there's a
more. of.
random bull in Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness too, and the only reason I knew he existed beforehand is because they made a Funko Pop of him, and then in the movie he just stands there, and then he's
He
tortured.
doesn't
at
really do
one point.
anything.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he doesn't really have any purpose.
I saw
So
him in the
this guy,
trailer. I'm like,
he
oh my
must be
god, that
related.
guy was so cool. This is gonna be great. And no,
He looked like a Minotaur guy, and then he just stands in the background.
like, oh, okay.
Well, he was in the trailer too, so it was
Right.
like made to be a big deal to have this bull man. But he at least looked like a cool Minotaur. What we got in this show just looked like a doofus with horns.
Yeah.
You've seen those guys; they have the big things in their ears.
Yeah.
Like the big gauged ears.
Yeah, blonde guy
about-
with dreads. You've seen that guy walk down the street.
Oh,
It was
oh,
very, very
It's very much
stereotypical person.
Okay. Yeah.
that. Yeah, there was. Well, whatever.
Anyways, so should we
was that
hit on some of
character.
these big points around the end, or what? Like,
Well,
where
so
are we
I do
going?
want to mention the Daredevil aspect because it's such a big thing.
Yeah,
Like
we
we don't
haven't
know
talked
how the
about
Daredevil
Fox.
show is going to be, but they confirmed that there's going to be a Daredevil show before this show aired. So it's not like a dramatic reveal to include him in this.
Sure.
You know, it's not like, oh my God, they introduced Daredevil. They already announced there's 18 episodes of Daredevil, all that good stuff. It's more of how kind of does this impact Daredevil at all?
Right.
Like, is it
Ooh,
tonal
yeah.
impact? Is it why is he in LA? You know, it's a really interesting point that we're not going to get a show where he's learning to be Daredevil. Like, they've already kind of confirmed he's full on doing the two lives and keeping his secret identity, and he already has a suit. Like, he's been Daredevil for a while.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm still confused about how they're going to be tying that into the Netflix series, or if they're just going to disregard that altogether, or have like just the characters but not any of the backstory.
It feels like they want to keep some of it. Just like I said, he's not going to learn to be Daredevil. Like the Netflix series, he starts at the very, like, we see him
beginning.
lose his vision as a kid, and then he trains slowly but surely and becomes
We've
Daredevil.
also seen Wanda lose her vision several times, so it's not.
I know,
nothing
there's a
new.
lot of losing vision jokes.
Oh,
Frog liked all those. You bookmarked all of them.
Oh my god. Oh.
This is a great reaction. This is fantastic.
Oh.
Going down to my
my-
personal ledger is one of my bets.
There is a point, though, for Daredevil that all I could think of was The Boys, where She-Hulk does the little shockwave clap, and it messes him up. You know, he flies into the car, and it messes up because all of his thing is, like, hearing. And all I could think is that time where Homelander smashes that guy in the head, and he's like, this is who you come audition for me.
Yeah, the boys kind of ruined a lot for superheroes.
Yep.
in a way.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it did. Like I feel like it's almost like everything other than the boys are just very cartoony now. Like the boys feels like it's too realistic in a way. Like that's how it would be. But I don't know. I can't imagine. I don't know.
I don't either. But thankfully this show is fun enough that it wasn't too distracting.
It fits like just that whole sequence where they go to the frog guy. Their whole back and forth about, I'm going to do the stealth thing. Oh, you're going to spend 30 minutes going taking each guy out one at a time.
Like, I was going there smash everybody. Take 2 seconds.
Okay, so that was interesting as well. So when they started doing that and he started doing his stealth thing and running around and he gets into the hallway, did that make you guys think of the Netflix when he it's a very famous scene of him? I've never even seen the show, but I've seen that scene.
Well, it's because it's the continuous shot.
Right. It's
they did that scene on purpose. There's a reason why.
I was making sure right once he walked into the hallway and I saw henchmen or goons or whatever in the hallway, I was like, oh wow, they're gonna try and reenact that scene, and they didn't. There was a ton of cutting around, which
it was
very
more just
disappointing.
Like, hey, wink, wink, nod, nod. We can't do that kind of fight choreography, but here, remember that show?
Remember that hallway scene where you beat up a lot of guys? That was really cool. But I loved how she came in and just brings down the ceiling and taking 10 guys out all at once. It's fantastic.
And then you think the episode's over because they go and they have sex, and then Daredevil does the walk of shame back out. And then she's like, wait, the show's not ending? What does that mean? Oh, we're doing the gala in this episode? Am I going to become red or am I going to become fridged? I guess let's find out. And it's such a good.
That was another thing about this show. Did you guys feel like this show was really horny?
Oh yeah, it was great. It's like one of the more adult anything in MCU we've ever gotten in a lot of ways. Not like in terms of gore, obviously, but in terms of like just being like adult. Like they're allowed to actually be human. Like can actually have sex and relationships.
Very horny.
It's allowed.
Very horny show. And I dug it.
I mean, She-Hulk, Jennifer's phone screen is literally a close-up of Captain America's ass.
Yep.
It's so subtle, but it's just there.
She taps it all day long.
Oh, God, dog.
Saying she does.
Oh, another one. That's good.
She smashes everything, even Matt Murdock.
Oh, even Matt Murdock with a little wink and the tongue out. She did the tongue out twice in the last episode, and I was like,
let's get there.
All right, let's go. Yeah, okay.
So the finale, I think, really brings everything together. If you take the first 8 episodes without the finale, it's just kind of like okay show, but I think the finale makes it a memorable show. Like how they go and they're like, oh, here's the bro guy, he's going to turn into Hulk, and then Hulk actually shows up, and then he turns back into Abomination, and all this stuff. She's like, oh my God, this is so predictable. And then for them to actually stop it and take the Disney Plus format and have her break out, instead of breaking the comic panel, they took the medium and she breaks out of that.
Yeah,
that was
it's the same thing in the comic, but they made it.
It was just such a great. It was one of the best like MCU things to kind of make fun of everything all at once.
It was great. It was great because they really touched on the whole idea that like this show was like, you saw the writer's room and you're like, obviously now these storylines make any sense. We watched the whole season. We're like, yeah, this is some of this is kind of sloppy, and it's because she understood, like the character of She-Hulk understood, like, hey, this is about Jennifer Walters and her coming to terms with the two identities and what they mean. And you guys are writing all these stupid storylines. Why do you keep doing this to all the characters? It was very self-referential. So it really did tie the whole series up really well.
Because a lot of the Disney Plus shows have been formulaic.
Yep. It's like they always end the same, she says.
I feel like that I actually didn't care for this whole thing.
The episode or the whole series?
No, I didn't care for this whole breaking the fourth wall enough to where she goes into the studio and starts talking to the writers. And then Kevin, to me, was probably, I was just like, this is.
You didn't like that?
I didn't
I
like
thought
it
it was
at all.
hilarious.
I was like, I'm watching Wall-E.
No, Alex, you're not alone. By the way, the internet hated this episode to death. Like, there are people that are literally revolting, saying that MCU is now dead, gone forever, burned it to the ground. No joke. You'll go on YouTube.
That's just going overboard. I
So
get what they were trying to do. I get what they were trying to do, and it was like, I get that it was fun, but it just, like, for myself, I was like, like, the fourth wall break is cool when you're just talking to the camera, but when you jump out of your own show and jump into another show, I don't know why it just didn't work for me. And other people,
because that's exactly what happened in the comics, just with the comic book creator himself instead of Kevin Feige. So, like, I've already been there and I really enjoyed it, and it became like a huge part of, like, you know, comics culture for decades. So I was like, oh, it's awesome.
I didn't know that actually happened in the comics.
Yeah, it was so much fun.
So, okay, so because it already happened in the comics, I think maybe that lightens it to me a little bit more.
I don't even think it has. It's just one of my favorite things. Like, I think the Looney Tunes do that, where they jump off the page and they get the pencil and just erase the creators. It's like, just a funny thing to do, because I think it really shows. Maybe it's kind of like how Kevin Feige is this. They're literally making fun of all the people who make fun of Kevin Feige. Like, you know, there's armchair financial analysts who are talking about Warner Brothers, and the reason they suck is because they don't have a Kevin Feige. Disney and Marvel's success is through Kevin Feige. Everything is Kevin Feige. He is a god. He's unquestioned. His decision making is impeccable, and that's what I thought was so funny. Kevin Feige's great, no doubt, but I'm sure there's more to him, or there's more to Marvel than him.
Right. So that's why they made him a robot, like an actual robot.
Yeah, because he's like literally, Disney's success is by acquiring Kevin Feige. That was it. It was the person. It wasn't the Marvel brand. It's none of the characters. It wasn't anything that any of the actual comic creators came up with. It's Kevin Feige. And for them to be like, let's slow our roll about how great he is.
I did like that she said this conversation's getting a little weird whenever they're talking about Kevin Feige being a godlike
the writer
figure.
room was disgusting. Like,
yeah.
I was kind of like, I could see a writer room kind of like this, because it gets into that yes man idea.
And they're like, we would kill you to protect Kevin.
Right. Yeah. I would literally murder you. Okay. It was okay. Maybe it wasn't pretty good. But I think, and I don't want to say this, but I, like, in my own head, like, I keep thinking about it. I'm like, Deadpool kind of did do it better, because he did the same exact thing where he jumped through the comic and then he went into the writer's room and he killed all the writers.
Yeah, that's fun.
Yeah. I was like, oh, but that, like, the way that he did it was really fun. I don't know. Sure. Yeah.
I just think any kind of fourth wall breaking is fun, in my opinion.
Yeah. I just like that it was so absurd. No, but they just made it as absurd as possible. Yep. To really just make it as, like, that's what I think caps the whole show. Her getting winks and nods to the camera is one thing, but her saying that this entire show and the entire MCU is idiotic, and anyone who defines their personality trait through things they enjoy for entertainment needs to find other hobbies. That's what I think. They took it up to such a ridiculous notch that it's stupid and absurd, but I think it had to be to nail the point of what the MCU has become.
And ironically enough, the people that were hating on the show were mad because she got laid. Because there was sex in the MCU. Oh, yeah. Like,
because
what?
There was sex in the MCU? That's
if
so
I'm not allowed to have
weird,
sex, they're not allowed to have sex. That's what it was. And it was a great wink and nod to the camera.
That's fantastic. Well, okay. So should we kind of mention, like,
the conversation itself with Kevin?
Well, no, how she got to that point to want to leave. I mean, she was at, like, almost like a rally against her, because there's internet trolls who are trying to pretty much kill her, murder her, and because they're mad that she's pretty much like we've been talking.
I don't think they necessarily wanted to murder her. I think they wanted to. No? They were mad at her for having powers that they thought she didn't deserve and wanted powers for themselves.
It was more of a jealousy complex.
it's I think what it was whenever I say that is because earlier in like the series they were talking about death threats and how she's got.
Oh, I'm sure some of them definitely had death threats against her for sure.
That was my thought, was she's got all these death threats, so people are looking to murder her in some way.
Yeah, but she realized that this whole show had become too formulaic and not really about like her character development. And that's when she went, this is enough. This is ridiculous. So you have the cameos coming out of nowhere, like the Hulk smashes in for no reason. It's like, wait a second. Like, this is so formulaic in everything you've done. That's what caused her to like freak out and break that fourth wall.
So yeah, let's jump into the actual Kevin conversation, because I feel like there was a lot in there that, I don't know, could be hints to future things.
Well, one of the things that I read about was they tried 20 different versions of that robot. And every single one, no matter how it looked, had the black baseball cap homage, some kind of version of that black baseball cap. And that's the one takeaway that Kevin Feige had. He's like, that's how everyone pictures me. Of all the things they pitched of this robot who's him, who comes up with the AI, his one takeaway was the black hat. That's me. That's the identifier of me, is the black hat. And that's just the funniest part, to hear him like having these conversations with the writers and going all these different versions.
Always comes back to his signature hat.
Yep.
I wonder if there was a version of the Wall-E robot, not Wall-E robot, but from the ship.
Yeah, the ship commander robot. Yeah,
that's what it reminded me of whenever I saw the Kevin.
Well, I mean, it's a lot like the Portal 2 robot too.
It's Portal 2 is that's true.
It's very much like the Portal 2 robot. Yeah. Kind of that same design coming down the
At first, I thought they were going into that room of the creator from The Matrix, and
I felt the same way too. There had to have been a version of the writing where it was just a bunch of different screens all around of different things happening. They had to have. Yeah. Anyways, they had
pretty close to that.
It was pretty close until the robot. But yeah, so anyways, so she hinted at a lot of things, X-Men being one of them, which was fun to hear her say X-Men and then wink, nod. Was there anything else was there anything else that stuck out to you guys?
No, I don't know if anything specific, just like her going through like the whole daddy issue thing, because it seemed like everyone had the dad issue, right?
Yeah.
More male stuff.
I was going over that. I was trying to think of all of the characters. Once she said that, I was like, she only focused on the big ones. I was thinking of all of them. I was like, damn.
A lot. Yeah, it's a bit much, Kevin. So that was fun. Obviously talking about Hulk, but Hulk ended up coming at the end and introducing his son anyways. So
still interesting about that. I have questions.
Okay.
That was the bonus scene.
That was, yeah.
Or no, it wasn't the bonus scene.
No, it wasn't. It was like right at the tail end of the episode.
It was the Fast and Furious end. They were all there. It was totally Fast and Furious.
By the way, someone already did put the theme song over that montage.
Oh, goodness, really?
Online. Oh, yeah.
Wow.
I mean, it's totally Fast and Furious. Anyways, it was good. That was a fun little scene. Well, what was your question about that, Alex?
Well, no, where did that kid come from? What's going on with that?
We don't know yet. Right?
Is there another Lady Hulk that
could be?
So yeah, no, it's all linked to Sakaar, because there's 5 years of Hulk storyline from Thor Ragnarok that are unaccounted for, or 2 years that are unaccounted for.
Yes.
Yeah, but his kid looks like he's like 23.
Different planets.
Ah, that's true.
Oh, remember in that movie, what's his name? What's his name? The
Grandmaster, Grand Inquisitor.
Grandmaster, Grand Inquisitor. Is that what his name is? Jeff Goldblum's character?
The Grand Inquisitors from Star Wars.
Yeah, I'm like, wait a second. Whatever his name is, Jeff Goldblum's character.
Jeff Goldblum's character
said that time moves differently here. So yeah, it could very well be 20 plus years that have passed on that planet. So just throw that out there. So that line was in that movie for a reason, and it was for I think this reason, so that we can.
Wow, they were thinking that far ahead.
you realize that they've been thinking? Like,
That's what Kevin does, man. He has
That's
all
what
those
he
AI algorithms going. How to make the
Saying.
best connected movies.
Pretty amazing stuff.
Yeah. Anyways.
Cool. Well,
I love when they come back after she breaks the fourth wall and comes back. Daredevil literally just flies in from the sky because she's like, "What if you just added Daredevil back and you just?"
It's like, I don't know why I'm here, but I'm here by some crime, apparently, in broad daylight, which I never usually do. Oh, that was great. That was a fun.
I do like that he did have that walk of shame in the Daredevil costume, like because I feel like there's some truth to that we never really see in any of these shows. Like,
right
when these superheroes go to a place far away from their house and they're still in their costume, it's not like they've got a
what's
backpack
life like,
with it.
right?
Yeah,
right?
This is almost like, okay, well, now I gotta go back home. I mean, do you Uber? Like, what do you do? And
not only that, they showed it from the mail leaving for the Night of Shame. That's very rare
fantastic.
for any kind of film or entertainment thing. There's
It's
like in episode 3, as She-Hulk, she picks the guy up and takes him to bed.
Yep.
yeah,
Which was
People
funny,
can get
'cause he was a big
insecure
guy.
about those things.
it's a horny show, man.
Yes, it was.
Cool.
Whether take
All in
anything
all,
else.
I can't
think
think
that
of
was
too
it.
much more.
It was good. It was a fun show. I think that,
Fun
that-
show.
Don't look too into it. Have fun with it. If you're angry,
I will
about it,
say-
well, I don't know
Oh,
what to
sorry.
tell you. That was it.
Yeah, I will say, like, I probably would watch 7 episodes with my wife, and I probably wouldn't have her watch the whole Kevin scene in the 8th episode.
Okay, is
Or
it too much, you
wait,
think, for
is
her?
it? No, she's not into Marvel at all. She's not really
Gotcha.
into
Yeah, she wouldn't care for
superheroes.
that then.
And
Right.
I think that would completely take her. So, and that's the thing is, like, as a person who's not really into comic books and stuff like that, it probably would be tough for them. Even if they make it very accessible to people who aren't into comics. But I think right once you break that fourth wall and talk to the writers and then talk to Kevin Feige and all that stuff, I think that'll go over a lot of people's heads who aren't into it.
I agree, actually. As I said, there's been a lot of people online that just absolutely hated that finale, and I think it's because it was very specific. Worked for me. I don't care. They can be haters all they want. They can keep all their stupid shows that they watch. I don't care.
They're stupid shows.
I
They're
feel
Big
like this
Bang
also,
Theory.
it just works right now. Like, I don't know if you could have multiple shows like this. I feel like you need 25 movies and 8 TV shows to make this joke.
Yeah, it's true. This wouldn't
Like,
have
I'm
worked,
sure
like,
DC will have a
2
TV show like
movies
this
in.
in a few months where they make
It'll
fun of
fail.
all their terrible things. It will have no
Right.
background or story, and it would be stupid. That's when you know it actually is good. Whenever DC's kind of like the scary movie version of Marvel. Whatever they try to work and make fun of is working.
Yeah.
Which actually, I'm sorry, this was one thing that I brought up at the beginning that I was curious about her powers. I'm almost kind of thinking, is breaking the fourth wall kind of a power in a way for her?
Is it?
I mean, look how she was able to change the ending of her own story by breaking the fourth wall and going into a different universe in a way. I mean, technically,
Gwenpool. God, that was a weird cough. I'm sorry. Yes.
really?
There's a character called Gwenpool that does the same.
Oh, I thought
thing.
you coughed. And it
no,
just
no,
so
I was trying
happened
to say
sound
Gwenpool.
like
Good, I
Gwenpool.
didn't mean to say
Unbelievable.
Gwenpool. I did not mean to say that name at all. Someone who shares similar powers that can alter storylines.
See, I didn't know that. That's going to make that so interesting whenever she eventually shows up in everything just like this.
There you go. Yep.
There was also that one intro where it made her storyline into the original Hulk TV show, and they
Oh.
That was so
filmed it very
fun.
similarly in the
Yes.
quality. That was really good.
They filmed that really well. Like it really
Yes.
looked like a direct homage.
From what I heard, it was like shot by shot, exactly
Yeah, it
the
was.
same thing as...
I grew up watching that show.
I've never seen that
Lou
show, and I'm
Ferrigno.
like, this is
Oh.
the actual intro for the original Hulk
It was
TV
super
show.
cheesy. It was great. Low budget.
How funny would it be if
fantastic.
they actually got Lou Ferrigno to play She-Hulk in that whole thing? That would be hysterical, but
Yeah,
probably not.
probably not. No.
Probably not kosher.
No.
So before we end, I do want to ask, where do we rank She-Hulk within all the Marvel shows?
Oh, I ranked it. Recently, I should probably look at my tweet. See where I ranked it. I forget.
Honestly, I forgot what all the shows are. I forgot
I know, me too.
my old rankings.
I'm going to solidly
it's-
put this as 3 because I can only think of 2 shows.
would
I can
put
think of
this as
3 Marvel
too.
shows right now, and so this is 3.
This might be 3. Yeah.
I mean,
I'm
'cause
going to go
thinking
Loki, WandaVision, and then this.
And then the show. How's your 3?
probably-
Everything else that happened. I guess.
Everything else I don't think happened or exists.
Maybe Loki, What If, and then this.
I mean, I guess I think I liked this better than Miss Marvel.
I like this better than Miss Marvel for
I
sure.
would say there's episodes of Miss Marvel I liked better, but I think I like this better as a whole, as a series, than Miss Marvel.
Yes, agreed.
So yeah, interesting. There
I
you
think
go.
it helped that this show was more adult. It
Yeah,
helped.
it really did help.
Because I can't connect.
It's a different
I
tone.
can't. Right. I can't put myself into the shoes of a teenager as easily
You
as
can't
I
get yours
am
with a
to do.
teenage girl. All right, well,
I have a size 12.5, bro.
okay,
It's kind
That's
of
fair.
tough. Just
makes
saying.
sense. It's not easy being a Jersey girl, I guess. Oh well.
Yeah, that too. Jersey
I
girl.
think this is also just a reminder of how great Loki is.
Which, when are we gonna start seeing something with him again? You would think that we would start.
Season
Season
two.
2.
When?
Yeah, remember he's still in the TVA. He's not outside of the TVA yet. He's not in our
Season
timeline
2's
right now.
coming. Yeah.
Yeah.
God, dude, that all that stuff is so confusing.
I know, that's what's
Okay.
so good. It doesn't just
I know,
hold your hand and
exactly,
be
it's
like,
great.
hey, look, I'm breaking the fourth wall. Or more formulaic than that. Introduced to character, introduced to powers. Have a problem with powers. Say, I'm going to not want powers or I'm going to hate my life. Come to
I'ma not
terms with
want powers.
powers, defeats bad guy. Boom. Every Disney
every-
Plus
every-
Marvel show and movie.
Yeah. It's every movie and show that they've ever
And it
done.
only takes 9 episodes to do.
Yeah, or 10 if you're lucky.
Or 6, if they don't really have that much to care about this character.
Anyways, that was She-Hulk.
Let us know what you thought. Reach out at Secondary Heroes, and did you hate it? Did you love it? Were you mediocre to it? Where do you rank She-Hulk within all the Disney Plus shows? Let us know.
I want to know. I want to know what you think.
To everyone listening, we do hope you enjoyed, and we'll talk to you next time.
Fargo.
Adios, y'all.